and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Timon of Athens, and today we get to hear from the Steward in Act 2, Scene 2. Now, a lot of versions consider this to be Flavius, who is Timon's servant who we heard from earlier, who is aware of the fact that Timon is giving away more than he has. But what's interesting is in that particular scene, in the first folio, the character is named Flavius. Throughout the rest of the play is just called Steward. So I don't know if it was intended to be a separate character that knows about this, or if it's supposed to be the same one. I think it makes Timon a little bit more of an isolated character if there is just this one servant that's trying to help him and trying to clue him into all the trouble that he's in. So that's kind of cool. But I also wonder if it was supposed to be like a statement from Shakespeare. Maybe this was supposed to be another just sort of archetypal character and was supposed to be the steward throughout, but they had to, call him in from somewhere in the dinner scene. And since Timon has so many servants, they needed to make sure that they knew which one came in. Maybe that's why he got a name in that scene. But whatever. We're hearing from the steward / Flavius today in Act 2, Scene 2. So we mentioned the dinner scene before where Timon is just like giving all sorts of stuff away, and Flavius has noticed that he's giving too much away. And it turns out Flavius is not the only one. We've had a senator notice that Timon is giving too much away because he took account of what Timon owes him and what he knows Timon owes other people. And he started to get a little bit freaked out. And so he sent his servant Caiaphas to Timon's house to collect his debts and said, don't take no for an answer. Don't buy it if he says he doesn't have it on him. Like, you need to come back with my money from Timon. Go do that. So Act 2, Scene 2, we start out with this steward, Flavius, sort of fretting about Timon's debts and saying that he needs once again to try to clue Timon into what the problems are. And hey, Timon's coming back from hunting right now. Let's go and see him. But at that moment, Caiaphas and Varro's servant and Isidore's servant all show up, and they start talking amongst each other. All three of them have been sent by their masters, bosses, I hate saying masters, to collect the debts that Timon owes them, because apparently Varro and Isidore were also doing the same thing that this other senator was doing, which is why he sent Caiaphas. So they're like, yeah, we're here to collect some money and blah, blah, blah. And Timon comes in. He's just been out hunting. And he's like, oh, what a great day. Now let's all have dinner together, whatever. And the three servants are like, you owe my boss some money? And Timon's like, oh, no, just talk to my steward. He'll take care of it. And they're like, no, he keeps putting us off. And you've missed your due date a bunch of times. And my master won't let me come back until I have my money. And we're supposed to talk directly to you, not to your steward, so pay up. And Timon is like, wait, what? What is going on? I don't understand. So Flavius says to the three of them, he's like, hang on just a second, let me clue him in to the state of his accounts. Flavius and Timon go off, and just at that moment, Apemantus and the fool enter, and they get into a little conversation that it's just supposed to really pass the time, though they do, even the fool talks about how silly it is to be a usurer, like a moneylender or a money borrower, and how he doesn't want to get into any of that, and he equates it with being a pimp, being a whoremonger, whatever. But Apemantus and the fool and these three servants have this conversation where they're all mocking each other because, of course, everybody mocks Apemantus because he's so cynical and antisocial. But then Timon and Flavius enter again, and Apemantus and the fool leave, and Flavius says to the three servants, I'll be with you in just a second. And Timon is like, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me that I was so much in debt? Like, you're supposed to be keeping an eye on my estate, and you didn't tell me that this was going on? And Flavius / the steward says, oh my good Lord, at many times I brought in my accounts, laid them before you. You would throw them off and say you sound them in mine honesty. When for some trifling present you have bid me return so much, I have shook my head and wept. Yea, against the authority of manners prayed you to hold your hand more close. I did endure not seldom nor no slight checks, when I have prompted you in the ebb of your estate and your great flow of debts. My loved lord, though you hear now too late, yet now's a time the greatest of your having lacks a half to pay your present debts. So what he's saying is, I did try to tell you many times in many different ways, and you always brushed me off and said that it wasn't a big deal and you didn't want to deal with it right now and all that sort of thing. And he's like, I've been trying to clue you into this for a while, and like, yay that you're listening now, even though it's too late. But the situation now is that you don't even have half of the money that you need in order to pay everybody back. And Timon is like, that can't be right. Sell off my land. And Flavius is like, it's already been mortgaged. It's not really yours anymore to sell. And Flavius continues to like dig into Timon, and it feels like something that's been building up for a while for him, which we know from previous scenes, it's been on his mind for a while. So he basically just unloads all over Timon and is like, I've been trying to tell you, I've been trying to warn you when this was happening, all over the place, to the point where Timon is finally like, just stop. I can't hear any more of that. He's like, but I have friends who will help me. All of those people that were at the dinner the other night, they will all help me. So he calls in a couple more servants, and he says, you go to Lucius, you go to Lucilius, and you go to somebody else whose name starts with an S that's long and I am not going to be able to pronounce right now. And he's like, ask each of them for 50, the equivalent of $50. I forget what they call them in this play. But he's like, have them send me 50 each. And then he says to Flavius, go to the senators, because the senators also owe me money. Ask them to send me 1,000. And Flavius is like, I kind of already did. Like, I forged your name on a letter and I went to try to collect money for you, and they all said that they didn't have anything to spare at the moment. So I came home with nothing that yielded nothing. And Timon is going to have some thoughts on that before we're done with the scene tomorrow. So that's tomorrow's monologue, is Timon's response to the fact that he's sent out for help. He's gotten a preemptive rejection and is now going to have to deal with that. But he's Timon, and we'll see tomorrow how he handles it. Mwah.